Welcome to the Spotlight Series. I'm your host, Scott Nerney. We're live at the Cowesett Inn. If you'd like to come on the Spotlight Series or hang out with our crowd here, drop us a line at the Wave. We'd love to have you down, highlight your business, highlight your nonprofit or what's going on. We'd love to hear from you and talk to you. Like tonight, Nick Albanese, actor, writer, producer, director, film guy.
Yeah, a lot of titles.
Living on the edge of the industry.
A lot of titles, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to the Spotlight Series.
Thank you so much for having me.
Before we talk about your professional life, let's talk a little bit about yourself, growing up, and some background of yourself.
Yeah, I grew up North End of Providence, son of immigrants from Sicily. I was the first born in America. I came over in the belly, like in one of my shows, I talk about my life, and I always say I was imported, like a piece of Gabriel. So I came here, and I was the first one born in America. And we grew up on Charles Street in Providence. My dad owned a bakery. I lived above the bakery. Very Italian kind of life.
Absolutely, yeah, that's how it started.
Yeah, so that's my life. And then I just always, as a kid, I always liked performing, and we were like one of the first to get cable on our street, and we had like HBO, and I'm the kid watching these movies I shouldn't be watching. And all the other kids that didn't have cable, I would act out the movie that I saw the night before for them in the backyard. So I always had this kind of bug to be an entertainer. And time I got to high school, went to Mount Pleasant High School, and the theater was closed my whole time in Mount Pleasant until my senior year. The theater department reopened after 15 years.
Wow.
And I was going to, believe it or not, I was going to go to college as an accountant major. Some reason I liked numbers when I was a kid. And we did a Broadway Follies show my senior year, and that was it. After that, I was bit by the bug. I went to the Monday morning, I went to my guidance counselor. I said, I'm changing my major to theater. And I went to CCRI as a theater major.
Congratulations.
And I haven't stopped since, man. So.
But there's enough accounting in running theater productions as it is.
Yeah, well, there's a business side,
Yeah.
right? There's a business side to it, and you got to figure out the numbers, especially if you're doing ticket sales and trying to raise money for projects. Yeah, you got to know the numbers.
So tell the folks out there, if they're watching this and they want to Google a little bit about you, tell them about some of the past projects you've done.
Yeah, like some of the more noted people would probably know is the series Brotherhood. I was in season 2. I play Councilman Charlie Hacker. I'm in episode 8, and then they bring my character back a couple episodes in season 3, but not as big as season 2.
How's that when you get a phone call thinking you're all done and all of a sudden you show back up?
No, it's cool. No, it's funny getting the audition, because before I even got the audition, I was a limo driver at the time, and I would drive all these people coming in for Brotherhood season 1. And I would drive like Henry Bromell. He passed away, God rest his soul. He was a great guy, wrote and produced the show, and I would drive him all the time. And so the local casting lady, Ann Mulhall, she calls me in for, hey, they want you to come in and read for Brotherhood. And I'm thinking I'm going to go in and read for a gangster role or something. They're like, no, we want you to read for a councilman, politician. I said, gangster, politician, same thing, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So I made her laugh. It's I went in, and it's Henry Bromell in the audition, and Michael Correnti directed the episode. And Henry's looking at me going, I know you. I said, yeah, Henry, I drove you like 12 times. And he's like, oh, because I didn't have my limo uniform.
Sure, yeah.
So I was like civilian clothes. So I don't think he clicked. And he's like, So I think that got me the role, because I think he knew me and felt comfortable.
Trust you, yeah.
So hey, you got to get it any way you can. So I left the audition, and an hour later they call me. Annie calls and said, hey, you got the part. You got to be here. Oh, what, a couple of days? No, tomorrow morning. We're going to send you the script. I had like 3 lines in each scene. You got to learn the lines by tomorrow. Come down to City Hall with 2 suits. And it was that fast. That's how fast television is. And it was an amazing experience. It was a great, in the chair with the makeup and the hair. Like, oh, I can get used to this, And but it's ups and downs in the acting career, ups and downs. But and then I did a lot of independent stuff too. A lot of like different films, local companies, and a couple in New York. I did a lot of theater before COVID. I had my own theater group going. COVID kind of shut that down, shut everybody down.
Yeah.
And I wrote and produced plays with the theater group. We did it right out of Cranston and Rolfe Square, Theater 82. And I did this one-man show for many years called The Last Sicilian, which is like a story of my family's history from Sicily to America, and it's just all about my childhood growing up on the North End above my father's bakery, and I ran that for a while. The opening weekend was in 2015, and I did 2 sold-out weekends there in Cranston. And then I just kept adding shows, and I brought it to Westerly, and I would bring it to other venues. And then finally, in 2019, I brought it for 2 weeks off Broadway in New York, where I rented a theater and did the show. So, and it's a show where people I play all the characters. I play my mom, my dad, my uncle, me as a kid, and I have a screen showing images as I tell the stories. It starts all like the history of Sicily, the history of my grandparents, my parents, and then me being born in America, and it's pretty wild. And people from not even Italians, like Italians loved it, but like Jewish, Spanish, Portuguese, didn't matter. I would talk to people after the show, and they all related to it because it was just like a story about coming to America.
And it's from your heart.
Yeah, and it's about coming to America and family, and like everyone related to it. Like, oh, I had a crazy uncle like that. You know, people would tell me their stories, and I would do Q&As after the show, and they would last like another half hour just talking to the audience. It's a special show. To me, it's one of the best things I enjoy the most doing. Is that show.
What are you working on now?
And now, like I said, after COVID, it kind of shut things down. I'm kind of took now to kind of rebuild and reinvent myself, and I just been writing, and I'm working on a TV pilot called Death or Taxes, and
like it's a choice.
Yeah, you get a choice because it's about this family. The whole front is a tax office, and you go in there, either you want your taxes done or you want what they really do, is they whack people. So the first episode, a guy goes in there running for mayor who's being blackmailed, and he wants the guy taken care of. So that's basically it. So that's why, hey, you want death or you want taxes? Because if you want taxes, we got a real accountant on board too. So that's the whole, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. And I casted a lot of my friends I knew, some people I met through stand-up comedy. I cast the whole thing, and we got all the locations, and we start filming this weekend.
So it's a pilot to be a movie, a pilot to be a show?
It's a pilot, because I have, after that pilot episode, there's 5 more episodes, so it'll be like 6 episodes total.
Okay.
So we're doing a pilot just to see if there's any interest.
Sure.
And try to get it to online, see if anybody wants to maybe invest into the other 5 episodes. So it's pretty fun. It's a dark comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I could see that being a big hit.
Yeah.
I mean, especially you could probably bring in some really good guest actors to, play parts coming in the front door or working on the backside.
Yeah. And I'm not even in it. People say, oh, you're not going to put yourself in it? I was like, I want to sit back from acting a little bit. I want to direct this. And plus, because I'm union, and we're on strike right now, and so this is all like a non-union project for all the actors and everything.
Is that allowed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just directing. I'm not acting in it.
Okay. Well, that's good. So tell us a little bit about, like, when you're looking at different types of projects, you have vast different projects. How do you kind of put it towards a target audience? Like, if you could just pick up a random script and say, I want to make this, how do you really kind of focus the story to what you want to do, or like, there's a difference between what Nick wants and what somebody out there in the film industry or the TV industry really wants. Yeah.
Well, I know I always declare if people follow me on social media, I always declare myself the independent artist. And the way I write is I write for me, really. What I find funny, and what I think people would get a kick out of, and I put it out there. And like I said, with a lot of these, with the technology now and the internet, it's like there's so many of these distributors out there. There's a lot of independent distributors, and like Indie Rights and I think Film Hub are like probably the 2 biggest right now. And they help out guys like me at my level. You get stuff submit it to them, and they pitch it for you to like Hulu, not Hulu, the Tubi, the new one, like the Tubi's big, and like Amazon, Freevee is another one. There's like a whole bunch of them, and you can get your stuff actually out there. And these companies don't even charge you up front. They get it for you, and if it gets on to something and starts making money, they take 20%. So it's really no money out of your pocket to do this, to get this on there.
It's like having your own promotion sales staff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just going to keep growing. I think it's going to get bigger and bigger, a lot of like independent stuff. And so maybe we'll get the taxes on some kind of social media, streaming service. And then you never know. It might build up an audience, and then people are going to want more. And then maybe somebody will find it worthy to invest in. You know. You
find the film industry alive and well in Rhode Island?
It has its ups and downs. I think it has its up. At one point, we were really booming for a while, and then it kind of, and then now recently we had like I forgot that movie was, Kevin Bacon's wife. She came in town and directed a movie. We had The Good Burger come in, Hocus Pocus last year. So a lot of big stuff is coming in. But for like guys like me, I like to create my own things, and I want to actually act and play a character. That's what I do. Those productions, I don't really go for them, because like all they really want guys to be extras. Oh, you can't say extras anymore. You gotta be the background performers.
Minor performers.
Background actors, they call them now. And people want to do that. There's a lot. I know people that do that a lot. They're in a lot of projects. They're in the background all the time. Me, I can't do it. It hurts my soul. It hurts my soul. I want to be a character. That's what I went to school for. That's what I've been doing for 20 years, to develop characters, to play somebody. And that's why I do a lot of my own things, because in this business, the phone's not ringing. Then no one's calling you.
So you think, episode 4 or 5 in Death or Taxes, you could get whacked.
Yeah.
Or you could have a tax problem.
Yeah. By then, maybe by then it will become a union project.
Yeah.
And then I can get in there. I'll be like a long lost brother who shows up who's in prison.
There you go.
Or something like that.
So give us some links as to where people can find your information about this project and follow it.
Yeah, the company I started this year is called Il Mio, and in the Italian it means my own. So going with the whole theme of the independent artist. So Il Mio is my own films. And we got a Facebook page. I'm on Instagram with that. We have a YouTube page we just started. We're going to start posting a lot of like behind the scenes content.
Oh, great.
And I'm Nick Albanese. You can find me on Facebook. I'm on there a lot. I also have a Nick Albanese writer actor page. And I'm on Instagram as the Last Sicilian, after my one-man show. So they Google me. They'll find me. Right. They'll find me.
And I know you have the part of this funded, but if people are out there thinking about funding something or interested in that, they can contact you as well.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're always willing to take the money?
Yeah. Any artist.
What is it? Scagon?
Scarò.
Yeah, it's close.
The Scarò.
Yeah.
So I think any artist is willing, if somebody wants to give money and do that. And with the Death or Taxes, I did like a little GoFundMe, and then I had because 3 of the female leads in it are all stand-up comics. So I did a comedy show night, and we raised some more money with that. We did it at the Comedy Park in Cranston.
Nice.
So just a couple weeks ago. So between those two things, we raised enough where I can throw a couple bucks to each actor, the crew, and feed everybody. That's important.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hear about the catering.
You got to feed. You can't have a hangry cast or crew.
The last time I was an extra in a movie, it was a cafeteria scene.
Oh yeah.
And the girl came over, put the trays in front of us. We were teachers.
Yeah.
And she said, this is real food. Whatever you do, don't eat it, because it's 3 days old from different sets we've been using.
Oh my.
This is horrible.
Like
catering.
Real food?
Yeah.
They couldn't even use like plastic looking food?
Well, no, because they had to feed like 80 people.
Oh,
it was a big scene.
That's crazy.
So, your food should be better.
Yeah.
You have my word on it. His food will not be 4 days old.
No, it won't be. No, we're gonna buy fresh that day for everybody.
Italian food.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, you know what? I learned over the years. You don't give them a lot of carbs, because you feed a crew. That's the big number one thing is pizza. It's cheap and they can get a lot, and they want to feed their crew. But it's bad. Know why? Because after they eat 2-3 slices, they're all tired. Everyone's like, "Oh, we got oh man, we got 6 more hours of shooting, and they want, no, you got to go light. You got to do light. So
Fake food.
fake food.
Yeah.
No, we're just gonna give them water, and celery with some peanut butter on it.
Right.
You know?
Well, Nick, we're big fans. We're going to follow you. Please
Yeah.
keep us posted.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You know, drop us a line. We'll throw something out there when you're ready to start doing some previews.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you come back and talk
Yeah,
about
I'm
other
doing that.
projects.
I'm doing a big project after the pilot as well. I mentioned to you, I'm doing my first feature film, Il Mio, and that's called Charles Street, and that's a big project. And I got lucky with that one because 2 investors came aboard on that project. This guy Don Miller, he's out of New York City, and I met him last year. He produced a short film I was in called Father Forgive Me, where I got to play a priest, which was really interesting. It was a drama. You know, I do a lot of comedy.
Yeah.
But it was a drama, and I had to really dig deep, and there was some emotional scenes where I'm speaking to God, and I had to cry, and it was pretty wild. But me and Don, we clicked, and the writer-director of that, my friend Vinny, he's actually going to play the lead in my movie Charles Street. So you make these connections over the years,
absolutely.
like, you know, and you find people you like to work with, and you start, you know, using each other for your projects. And Don, he liked me. He said, "Wait, what else do you have? You write? Oh, what do you have?" And I said, "Oh, I got the script, Charles Street. It's like a feature I like to do. I like to direct my first feature. You know, I've been doing this long enough."
Yeah.
And he said, and he read it and he liked it, and so he came on board with another friend of mine, Bob, and Bob's also in the film, and they invested, and we're ready to go. We pretty much cast the thing. We got a couple more locations to find, and we start filming in October for that. That's a whole week.
Quick.
We're doing a 7-day shoot. It's set modern times, and it's based. Charles Street is on the North End of Providence, if people don't know, and it's basically about. It's kind of like the lead character is based off myself. Is Nick, but it's not Nick Albanese. I named him Nick Alba, and he comes back into town after he was home years earlier, and he made a movie. He kind of got some local fame from that movie, and then he lives down south now, but he comes back home for a week to kind of get inspiration to write a new story. So he goes and visits his old bakery where his father owned this bakery, and where he grew up, and he runs into this guy Richie, who's kind of like the last wise guy around. His whole family was all mob, but the mob is not like it used to be. They can't do the things they used to do. There's cameras everywhere. There's surveillance everywhere. It's hard to be a gangster in these modern times. So what Richie does now, he has a bar room as a front, but in the back room he has like a call center. He's doing cyber crimes, him and a few other guys. So Richie goes in the back and sees this, because he's like, maybe you want to write a movie about this to Nick? And Nick, you know, he finds it intriguing, and come to find out, the feds are watching, and they know Nick went in there. And now they want Nick to help them out. So Nick is caught between the feds and his old friend. And so that's the gist of the plot. And it's like, why? And he's like, why did I come home? He's like, now he regrets even coming home for a week. And there's other little subplots to it, because Richie has a daughter who wants to be an actress, and seeks Nick's advice and guidance, and he wants to help her get out of there, away from her criminal father. And there's great scenes with the FBI guys, and there's great scenes with Nick and his sister and brother-in-law at home, like these dinner scenes. So there's like all these different characters that Nick deals with, and it's almost like a sequel to a screenplay that I wrote called North End of Providence, about my real life. So in this movie, I actually make references to that story. So I tell everybody, it's only a half true story, Charles Street. It's not a totally true story. So I just made up the whole criminal thing, you know, to make it interesting. So that's basically the plot of it. And I got some really, really good actors on board. And I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting to actually do my first feature.
And to sit back in the chair and think, oh, I didn't see it that way, but I like that. This has to change a little.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you've got all this tape.
Yeah, and
put together.
And film is definitely a team collaborative of a project. Like Don Miller, who's one of the producers, he's going to actually be my the AD, assistant director. So he'll be there. and I have other friends that are playing parts in the show, in the movie, who have done their own films. So I have a lot of different eyes and, and people. But ultimately, I have to make the final decision of how I want a scene to go. But the key is, I think you surround yourself with good people,
Right.
and talented people and people you trust, and I think you can make a really good project.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's the perfect way to go.
Yeah.
And then while you're sitting in the chair watching this one image in front of you, you're thinking about the next one and the next one. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing things in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Not that I'm against doing anything elsewhere, because sometimes you have to
Yeah.
for sets, but I really think there's a lot to offer
Oh yeah.
in the Rhode Island landscape.
There's a lot of
and-
character in the state, all over the state alone. And I'm actually working on a couple other scripts, and they're also set kind of like in the Providence area. Somebody said, "You're gonna be like Scorsese, man. You're gonna all his movies are in New York." I was, well, that's where he's from. That's what he knows.
Yeah, might as well.
So maybe I'll just, all my stuff I'll make 10 films all based in Providence, maybe.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's
Yeah.
a lot of stories to be told.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories to be told.
Well, I mean, one of the first settlements. There's a lot of years to cover.
Oh yeah. But first, death or taxes. That's my first baby. I gotta get that, and then I can start worrying about the other
future?
stuff. Yeah.
Going
Charles
back in
Street,
time.
and then take the winter to maybe write something else. So.
Well, I mean, you get it done fast. We're really looking forward to seeing what's out there. Keep us in touch.
Yeah.
Folks, follow this man on Instagram, Facebook, all of his web information,
Yeah.
and we'll be pulling for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.